Hey everybody, it's GoblinX and Jumpstart has officially launched on Magic Arena. In this video I'll be playing through my first run of the event until I hit 2 wins for the rare card rewards. If you haven't heard of Jumpstart yet, this is the newest set on Arena, which is featured in this event, in which you choose 2 20-card themed booster packs, shuffle them together, and play with that as your deck. The event costs 2,000 gold or 400 gems. You keep all of the cards you open, play as much as you want, receiving a random rare reward for your first and second win. There's tons of reprints of cards that are new to Arena for the Historic format, and 47 brand new cards with the set for Historic as well, many of which I'm excited to try out in Historic Brawl in the future. But with the info dump out of the way, let's jump into this event and start picking our themes. We've got cats, devilish, and spooky to start it up. So in the description of this video, I will have links to the deck lists that are possible under each theme, as well as the rares and basic lands possible under each theme. So if you're playing this event trying to get specific cards for your historic decks or for your brawl decks, those are very good resources to use. But for me personally, I think this just sounds like a really fun event, and so I'm going to be playing it enough that I'll probably get all of the themes. As you can see, I've already played a little bit. Unfortunately, I did try to record this video earlier and had some issues where the video just came out as a black screen, so I actually did a spooky theme before. So not going to choose spooky this time. I'm going to choose between cats and devilish. I think let's go devilish because I really like the look of the devilish basic land. So I would love to have that in my collection for some decks. Now we have Well Read. This is a deck about drawing cards, and it's literally an island of books. These basic lands are incredible. We've got Seismic, which is just a very volcanic mountain there. And Feathered Friends is all about like flying cards and stuff. I'm going to pick Seismic here. Go for a mono red deck. Seismic and devilish. Lots of burn. Really weird name there, Devilish Seismic. But anyways, after you choose your themes, you can look at your deck before you get into the games, and I'm going to do that just in case I don't draw one of my rares. In the event where I failed to record properly, I did have a Tiny Bones that I never even drew in any of my games, so I didn't even know that I opened a Tiny Bones until after the event. I don't want that to happen again. I want to show off all the cool rares that I got this time before we head in. Let's see what we got in our deck. First off, I mean, this deck looks sweet. Collateral damage, 3 damage to any target for only 1 mana. You do have to sacrifice a creature to do it. Forge Devil, a nice little devil that damages things. And Grim Lavamancer as our first rare. A really classic card that's very, very good over a long game of Magic. You can start filtering the cards into your graveyard, or the cards in your graveyard into damage, and start shredding your opponent's creatures. Very nice card there. Obviously, lots of devils and stuff, lots of burn spells. This deck looks super sick. We also have Magma Quake. We must have got that in the Seismic pack. 2 red and X for an instant. Deal X to each creature without flying and each planeswalker. So just wrath the board. Volcanic Fallout as well. Lots of ways to wrath the board in the Seismic deck, it looks like. And Zurzoth Chaos Rider, a nice commander for Brawl or Commander for a Devil tribal deck with some really interesting abilities there. Whenever an opponent draws their first card each turn, if it's not their turn, you get a 1/1 devil, and whenever one of your devils attacks somebody, you and those players draw a card and discard a card at random, so you just keep making more devils when you're attacking people. Very cool right there. And that looks to be all of our rares, but we did get those fantastic basic lands, as you always get in this format. Let's go ahead and change our sleeves to something a little more appropriate if we can. I'm unsure how to do that right now. I'm pretty sure you're supposed to just click on the sleeves right there. It looks like it's not going to happen, so our Devilish Seismic deck is going to have adorable kitty sleeves, and I would recommend if you're playing this event and you enjoy it, you have a lot of fun with it, if you have friends on Magic Arena, definitely click that Add to Decks button there so that you can play this in direct challenges against your friends later. So with all of that out of the way, we know what we've opened up. It's good. I mean, we got 3 rares in our 2 packs, so that's automatically just some good stuff. Let's see how these games go. Grim Lavamancer, Magma Quake, and the Devil Commander, Zurzoth Chaos Rider. Definitely going to go ahead and keep this one. I would definitely recommend overall trying to take 2 different colors of Jumpstart decks if you're just trying to be super competitive, just because of the fact that almost every Jumpstart pack, I'm pretty sure, has these thriving lands here. So if you're a mono-colored deck, this is just strictly worse than a mountain. So your mana base ends up being a little iffy for a mono-colored deck just because tapped lands for no reason. Mesa Unicorn will start it off for our opponent with 2 of these feathered planes, so that's probably feathered friends or angels, something like that. I'm going to just lead off with Zerdoth because he's a scary card. And he's a 2/3, so he's big enough to block the Mesa Unicorn. Daybreak Charger from our opponent. Maybe a unicorn-themed pack. They play a Thriving Heath for green, so their other pack must be green. Now I could do a pretty big blowout for Magma Quake if I get 1 more mana. I can shred both their creatures and still have Zerzoth on the board, so for that reason I'm going to cast my Mana Geode. So then we'll have our 4th mana next turn. We did hit a land as well, so we'll have 5 mana next turn if need be. Hopefully they play another 2 toughness or less creature, that'd be fantastic. Oh, looks like they just have the Thriving Heath in one of their white packs, just like we had the Thriving Bluff in our double red deck. And that is a 2/3 Brightmare, so we may be getting to that point where I want to Magma Quake away my own Zerzoth, just because I'm at 11, so I'll send in the attack, see what happens here. Of course, if I discard Magma Quake off the RNG, that would be horrible. They do block, but I do get a Devil Token now. The Devil Token will do 1 damage when it dies, so if I can just survive another turn, Magma Quake could be really good here. Magma Quake, actually a pretty sick combo with all these devil-producing cards. I'm just going to cast Dance with Devils for that very reason. That sets me up for an incredibly powerful Magma Quake next turn. Now I can do it for only like 1 or 2 and still shred stuff with higher toughness. Unfortunately, if they just attack with everybody, I'm going to have to just block, and then I no longer have a really big Magma Quake in the future. So with this, I can kill their whole field if they don't have some kind of obnoxious instant here. Just because these Devil Tokens doing damage when they die. I'm getting 3 triggers here. And that will kill everything on board. Now we're probably just going to play Torch Fiend and start playing cards like Heartfire and Spitting Earth to kill their creatures. Angelic Ascension will exile their 2/3 and turn it into a 4/4 Flying Angel so that it doesn't die to the Devil triggers, and a Valorous Stance to give indestructibility to the Unicorn. So they did have some obnoxious instant speed tricks like I was worried about. Unfortunately, Thriving Bluff is not a mountain. We would literally rather have a mountain than this for multiple reasons, not just because we're mono red, but also because Spitting Earth deals damage equal to the number of mountains. So that only does 3 damage against that 4 toughness angel, so that's a problem. I'll have to Heartfire that if I want to kill that without losing Zerzoth. So I guess I can attack. If I full control mode this, I will create a devil when I attack before they block. And then I can sacrifice that devil before they have an opportunity to block to use Heartfire. If I don't discard Heartfire, I didn't. I discarded Spitting Earth. So now I can Heartfire the angel to make sure that Zerzoth is safe. And we will sacrifice this Devil Token. So that was a nice little neat combo. And now the Devil trigger will just do 1 damage to their face, because I'm not going to do 1 more damage to the Unicorn naturally. I could collateral damage it. That requires me to sack a creature, though, so I'd have to sacrifice Zerzoth. Don't really want to do that. I will play Grim Lavamancer and Torch Fiend, and plan to block the 2/2 Unicorn with my Torch Fiend to trade with it that way. Alright, the trade is made. They are at 29 life, though, and here comes a Baneslayer Angel. Pretty threatening card, but Grim Lavamancer's effect plus collateral damage will be 5 damage. It does have protection from demons and dragons, but that does not include devils and Lavamancers, so that's good. That would be an issue. So I'm going to do that same thing. It's been dealt 2 damage this turn. I'll attack. Well, actually, I don't think I'm going to do that same thing. This is going to be a rough play. If I attack here, I draw then discard a card at random. If I end up discarding collateral damage, that'll be horrible for me. So I think I have to actually just sacrifice Grim Lavamancer to kill Baneslayer now. So yeah, I was thinking maybe I could send in the attack and then sacrifice the devil to do that, but if I did that, I had the risk of just discarding collateral damage there like I discarded my Magma Quake. And that would be pretty sad, but now we're really set up for victory. We're going to be getting an extra 1/1 devil every turn. We now have Hobble Fiend out, which lets us sacrifice those devils. And we didn't discard this Volcanic Geyser, so we've got that backup to destroy something. I think it's time for Zerzoth to take over this game. Voice of the Provinces from our opponents. 3/3 Flying Angel that comes with a 1/1 human. Luckily I can just sacrifice a devil to deal with that human right now, and then Volcanic Geyser the flyer when it goes to my turn. Magma Jet as well. Magma Jet would let me get rid of it by just sacrificing a devil, so I guess I'll do that. Because that also allows me to scry, set up my future draws. A Forge Devil and a Mountain. They're just going to scoop them up, though, because the devils have taken control and defeated the angels. That was a pretty classic kind of game there. Usually it's demons versus angels, I guess, but devils versus angels is close enough. And our first random rare reward is a mythic rare. All of these rewards will be from the Jumpstart set as well, so it's going to be something sick. Towering Titan, 6 mana for a 0/0, but it enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the total toughness of other creatures you control, and you can sacrifice a creature with Defender to have all of your creatures gain Trample until end of turn. It actually gives all creatures on the board Trample till end of turn, so if you're in a 4-player game in Commander or something in Paper Magic, you can do this during someone else's turn to just have their creatures trample over onto one of your opponents, which is kind of cute. So, one of those cards that's for a Defender tribal deck. I'm actually not a huge fan of that. That's probably my least favorite mythic from the set, to be honest. Just because it's so narrow. It's literally just for those Defender-based decks like Arcades, decks that use tower defense and stuff like that. Maybe Huatli that makes your creatures deal damage equal to their toughness. Cards like that. Alright. Heading into our next game, definitely going to keep this. Got a sturdy devil here. 2 mana for a 4/3 that doesn't untap during your untap step, but for 1 mana you can sacrifice a creature to untap it. You can only do that during your turn, so you can't sacrifice a creature in response to them casting a removal spell on one of your creatures. But, as we've seen with this deck, we've got several ways to make 1/1 devil tokens that throw a damage at something when they die, so if we get any of those tokens going on, we will have perfect sacrifice outlets. And Pride Malkin's not exactly what we want to see. How much toughness does this Prankster have? It only has 3 toughness, so I kind of want to just play Mana Geode and set myself up to try to Volcanic Fallout multiple creatures on their board. The only problem with that is with Pride Malkin out, they may be the +1/+1 counter deck. I'm going to leave Magma Jet on top. Let's see what their land is. Their land is the Cat's land, so they're the Cat's deck as their green. So we actually don't really have to worry about this Pride Malkin getting better with +1/+1 counters. Hopefully they just play some more Cats and then Volcanic Fallout kind of gets them. Oh boy. Okay, so they're playing Cats and Goblins double tribal over there with Krenko Mob Boss, which is an absurd card. I could Volcanic Fallout and Magma Jet, and that'll deal with both of them. Unfortunately, it is a 1-for-1 trade on each, but I think I have to deal with Krenko right now, so that's going to be the play. Put that Dance with Devils on top of my library, because that's exactly the kind of card that I'm looking for to combo with my Chained Brute and untap him. There's a Penumbra Bobcat from our opponent. When it dies, they create another 2/1 cat token. Luckily, when these devils die, I get to deal a damage to something. So, I get to kill that Bobcat right now, so they only get 1 chump block out of it. If they don't want to chump block now, I can just sacrifice the devil again next turn to kill it then. So they don't make the chump block, so they do still have their 2/1 black cat. 4 cards in hand, they're going to send in. Definitely not going to block. I need this creature to untap my Chained Brute. Goblin Commando. When it comes into play, it does 2 damage to target creature. So unfortunately, we no longer have the Devil to sacrifice for Chained Brute. Alright, well, Spiteful Prankster seems pretty scary. As long as it's our turn, it has first strike, and whenever any other creature dies, it does 1 to a player planeswalker. They're already at 10, so that would be pretty scary. Plus, I can play that and Hobble Fiend out this turn. Now, even if they start killing my creatures, they'll be taking some damage. And obviously, I'll be killing my own creatures. The devils do love to sacrifice. Alright, Havoc Jester too, so I'm doing 2 damage every time I sacrifice a permanent. That could be pretty huge. I'm gonna go to combat right now. And I'll just send in with these 2 first. A trade with Goblin Commando wouldn't be the worst, and they can't trade with the Prankster without another card in hand just because of first strike. So we'll see what this other card is. Feral Invocation for instant speed, +2/+2. That'll make it a 4/4. I could respond by going ahead and sacrificing this to untap Chained Brute or put a counter on Hobble Fiend. I think I will untap the Chained Brute then. And do 1 damage to them. Oh, I guess that only works on other creatures dying. Yeah, only other creatures dying deals damage to them. Fair enough. So that wasn't the best. So, since I spent my mana to untap Chained Brute instead of playing Havoc Jester, we'll drop Cinder Elemental on this board. Pretty threatening on this board. We have 5 mana right now, so that'll do 4 damage to their face, or 4 damage to their 4 toughness blocker to clear the way for my other creatures. Either way, apparently not a lot of good stuff in my opponent's hand. If they didn't add anything to the board, I could Cinder Elemental the blocker and attack for 6. So, very threatening position. They did not want to have any of that going on. So they scooped him up. Let's see what our second rare reward is. It is a Branching Evolution. Fantastic rare reward. This is half of doubling season, basically. For 3 mana, if 1 or more +1/+1 counters would be put on a creature you control, twice that many +1/+1 counters are put on that creature instead. So this card's a lot of money in paper, because everyone's very excited about this 4 commander. Definitely going to be a Historic Brawl All-Star on Arena, and that'll see a lot of play in my collection. So 2 really nice rares. We got a Mythic and a Branching Evolution, which is great rare. I actually like the Branching Evolution more than the Mythic I opened. And it looks like we got some random reward for leveling up. That's just the Kenrith's transformation. Kind of whatever. So that will end today's Jumpstart event, but I'll definitely be playing tons and tons of this set, so stick around for more if you're interested in that. What I do recommend, if you're playing this and you've got friends to play it with, add it to your decks so you can play your Jumpstart decks against your friends later, even after resigning the deck to get into another game. So, I would like to thank you all so much for watching this video. If you want to see more Magic Arena content, just stick around for more, because I'll be back very soon with more Jumpstart on Magic Arena. So I'll see you then.